Bobby Charlton made it.
Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another podcast. As always, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in if you are watching us live or if you're going to be tuning in live. Basically, the title for this one is Has Ollie Lost the Dressing Room? I'm going to be asking the guys, and of course, let us know what your thoughts are regarding that. As always, I'm joined by Kojo, Ali, and very special guest, G. How you doing, boys? How are we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. United on the other hand, that's a separate matter. So yeah, but I'm doing good.
Oh god, you've got the gorgeous dragon. You've got the gorgeous dragon kit on, man. I absolutely love that kit.
Oh, I love it.
That is beautiful.
That's a bad boy kit, man. It's a shame about the actual team kits and shit.
Yeah, the team kit.
But listen, as always, make sure you guys get your comments and your thoughts. Quite a lot of you, always asking us regarding our thoughts on Ollie, regarding the situation. The guys are going to go through all of those matters. We're going to discuss the situation with Bruno, if you feel there's any truth to that. And of course, Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer and his preparation for Newcastle. Anyways, let's start first and foremost. I feel like the Bruno comments and the Pogba comments are probably the most relevant at the moment, although it's kind of a few days old. We'll start with the Pogba one because I don't want to dwell on it too much. Ali, what are your thoughts on his comments in general? Obviously, for those of you that don't know, I'm assuming you don't use social media because literally everybody's talking about it. Basically saying it was anyone's dream to play for Real Madrid. And then obviously he went on to say something regarding Manchester United and his ambition to win trophies, etc. What are your thoughts? You know, it's not the fifth time this has happened now. It's not really anything new, is it? Yeah, Ali,
it's just become a boring. Yeah, it's just become a boring saga, to be honest with you, man. Every I think last year came up with a similar sort of comment saying he wants a fresh challenge. I think you blame him. I mean, the club isn't going in the direction that he actually wants to go in. We're not really going to fight for a title in the next couple of years. What's he, 27, 28 now? I think maybe 27, 28.
I don't think he's out old. The 25,
fascination.
25, 26, I think.
25, 20.
Is he Pogba 27?
There's a fascination with.
I think he is. I think he is almost.
Surely not. Let me check it now. Surely no. It can't be 27. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
He's getting old, man. Yeah, so I think I mean, there's a fascination.
What?
He is, isn't it?
Sorry, apologies. I thought he was younger, but anyways, go on.
He's getting old. Yeah, so he's coming to his prime. Like I said, I mean, it's just a boring saga that happens every summer. He'll just sort of comment and say the club isn't going in the direction that I would be in. We're not buying dream sort of team players really. So he's got 2 years left in his contract. We'll probably extend it, try and get the most out of the fee, and he'll just move on. He'll move on to Real Madrid, which is fascination that they're doing something. But I said Hazard's gone there and sort of struggled. It's a struggling club, but everyone wants to go there. Well, those players want to go there. So. I think it'd be enough for him to sort of leave us in the next couple of years, saying that he tried to achieve everything he can with us, but it's just the right time for him to move.
Yeah,
his views on.
Yeah, no, we've got a few comments in. Obviously, I want to look at it from both perspectives. I know this. I feel like with the Pogba situation, it's either you want him sold indefinitely, or you kind of agree from his perspective. I don't think there's any in between on social media. From what I've seen, it's either people absolutely hate him, or people can relate to his situation. We've got a comment here already saying, Super Red fan saying, can you blame Pogba? G, what are your thoughts on the, not just its comments, but the whole situation? Do you feel we should move on from Pogba? Some people saying that, Van de Beek should start over him. Like, what's your kind of opinion on the whole matter?
I think there's something that was actually, when all these comments came out, that was actually missed with all this stuff when people went hyped to him. And it's the idea that Pogba actually says, the club haven't offered me a contract. For me, that was the key. That was the key sort of phrase. And he said, I was like, so I was like, what? The club haven't offered you a contract. So, and this reminds me of what happened with Ander Herrera a few months back, where Manchester United Football Club do this thing over and over again, where they wait till a player goes into their, I think, final year of their contract or whatever, unless you're Phil Jones for some reason. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. But they wait, and then in the last how many so months, that's when they decide, right, okay, we're going to offer you a contract sort of thing. So for me, you need to look at his comments in the context of that. You know, it'd be a different story if like United were like offering him a contract and or going to him and negotiating, etc. And then Pogba was to say, "Oh, I want to go to Madrid," blah 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 blah. Then fair enough. But if they haven't even offered him a contract extension, then like, how do you know that how do you know that the club wants you to stay in the first place?
Yeah.
So the club are basically, because we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and quite frankly, it looks like Ed Woodward and the board, these players hate these guys. So if the board, if Ed Woodward are not even showing you that they want you to stay by offering you a contract, trying to negotiate something with you, then like, on top of the fact that this club doesn't seem to have any direction, of course I don't blame Paul Pogba. Of course I don't blame Paul Pogba. If Madrid come and say, okay, well, United aren't offering you a contract, we'll offer you this, this, and this, every player is going to go, oh yeah, well, that club likes me, that club appreciates me. And we hear from ex-players all the time. If you hear what Evra said and Rio and a few comments, that we know that Ed Woodward and the Glazers, that the underappreciation of the players and screwing them over is well known. So, you know, I'm not trying to completely defend Pogba because, you know, he maybe should be quiet a bit more. But I do think that we have terrible owners, we have terrible negotiators, and it's just, why haven't you offered him a new contract?
Yeah, we've got a comment from Jeff. Sorry to interrupt you, saying that basically, I'm assuming it's Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, he must be on first name basis if we call him Fab. But I'll message him, but that's Jeff. But Fabrizio said United Riola were talking. He also has added, but United aren't forced to offer him a contract because it can trigger plus, yeah. And just to pass it, before I pass it back to you, G, I think this is the problem with the club, and you kind of summed it up for me perfectly when you mentioned Herrera's name. I personally think, right, they're like, we don't want to offer him another contract because he's got 1 year, then we'll trigger the other year. So technically he's got 2 years left, and we don't want to pay, we'd rather allow him on his current wage for 2 years, then because if he signs a new contract, he's going to get, just hypothetically speaking, to say he gets another 50k a week or whatever, maybe, probably more. Or we don't want to pay that extra 50k a week for another 2 years when we can pay him 50k less for 2 years. Let him wait for the last day, and then he'll tell us to piss off like Herrera did, which he's well within his right. Obviously, you made the point regarding. Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, so do you want to know a good example of this club with this money pinching thing? Is like Sergio Romero. Just as like Sergio Romero wanted to leave, he wanted to go to Everton, right? Everton offered to. We wanted him to sell him to Everton, right, for like 8 million. We wouldn't have anything. We're selling him to 8 million. That was it. Everton said, right, okay, what we'll do is we'll pay you 4 million, okay, and then we'll pay his wages, right? Okay, so Romero's wages come to something like 2 million. So effectively, Everton will be paying 6 million, and then possibly with an option to buy for 2 million at the end. Makes sense. So in essentially, Everton would have eventually paid 8 million for the player, I'll bet, at the end. But we were like, no, we don't want to send Sergio Romero to Everton because we want £8 million now, even though we were going to get 8 million in the end. Do you kind of see this sort of deal? Because
but then when Dortmund are asking us for money straight up, we're like, nah, installments, and now we're fighting over 8 million. It's like, this club.
Well, the thing is, there's a difference between Jadon Sancho, who's your star player, who's top, who they want to keep because he's a price asset, and your third choice goalkeeper in Sergio Romero, who you refuse to let go, who's now going to basically be on our wage salary, and we can't give those fees to another player. You know what I mean? I just think that it's just nonsense. But I've talked enough. I'm still angry now. Sorry.
No. To be honest with you, I completely agree. I think the Romero example it just echoes the absolute embarrassment that is this club. You know, a lot of people in the chat straight away saying that at the end of the day, it shouldn't come down to the fact that we're going to trigger his next contract. You know, for me personally, if you look at all the big clubs, if they want to, let's just use Lewandowski as an example at Bayern Munich. There's no way Bayern Munich are going to allow this guy to potentially run down his contract, and then when he's got 1 year left on his contract, then offer him a contract. Because hypothetically speaking, he can go for like 20, 30 million then, given his age as well. And another team would say, look, buy him 40 million. And if Lewandowski's and ahhing about his contract, the power goes to the player straight away. Why would you even put yourself in that position? We've seen it with Arsenal, with Sanchez. Obviously, that worked out well for Arsenal by mistake. But Arsenal have done it on so many occasions. And we feel like we're kind of going down the sort of route that Arsenal are at. Kojo, what are your thoughts, not only on the Pogba situation, but obviously the manner in which the whole situation has just been dealt with, really?
You know what? When you guys were talking, in my head, I was just saying Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal,
Yeah,
Arsenal,
exactly, man.
Arsenal.
It's proper.
And this is exactly what you just said. It just sounds like Arsenal. This is what Arsenal used to do with Van Persie, with Fabregas, with Nasri, with Clichy, with Kleb. All the guys, they got history. Remember my favorite phrase, football heritage. That is Woodward football heritage. But as for Pogba, the trap, what United like to do is make the fans fall into a trap of, oh well, if this player wants to go, there's no one bigger than the club, so he can go. The guy's not begging to leave. The guy said, offer me a new contract, and then we'll talk. At the beginning of the window, his agent said United made it clear he's an important player. So and Pogba wants to stay, so let's negotiate the contract. So what are we waiting for?
Yeah,
that's literally all there is to it. Literally.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's a.
What about his comments though about Madrid though? Because obviously we've kind of spoken about this about a million times. So him saying that everyone's dream move is Madrid, sort of thing.
Well, yeah, well, if your club is not offering you a contract, you know full well no club's going to look at you. If they ask you the question, being honest and saying playing for Madrid is a dream, which it is like for like 95% of footballers in the world, unless they support Barcelona, of course he's going to say he's a dream to play there. But he also said after that, I play for Manchester United. I love this club, and they haven't offered me a contract, so offer me a contract. Yeah. So fans are going to take that first section and going to be like, oh, he wants to leave again. But if they listen to the whole thing, the guy is saying, listen, keep me here. But if you don't, I don't want it over there. It's very simple. So either give him the contract or free him, which would be an absolute disgrace to lose him on the free, pay 90 million, and then lose him on the free again. That is Man United done and game over.
I would not be surprised if Manchester United did that.
I'm have to retire from football if that happens. I'm done. I'm actually done with this club. As embarrassing as that, I can't go back from that.
That's a killer.
On the WhatsApp group, I can't say shit.
Because guys, the thing is that like the big thing with Pogba leaving, because there's a lot of people like say, okay, fine. For the people say Pogba out, Pogba should leave, Pogba should go, etc. We should sell him. Yeah. Okay, you got to think, who do we sell him to? And do they have the money to actually, especially given the crisis that we're in, do they have the money to actually buy him? Because if you're Real Madrid, I don't think Real Madrid spent 100 million on a player this summer transfer window, or Barca, etc. So, and given how long this whole crisis thing is going on for, clubs are like hemorrhaging money. So I don't even expect next summer that you're going to see a team that's going to spend 100 million pounds. So when you think about it, it makes more sense for like a club like Real Madrid or big team to say, right, well, Pogba's going into his last 2 years. Let's just wait it out. Get him on a free. We don't have to pay any money. That's fine. So is that what Pogba fans United fans that want Pogba out want? Do they want Pogba to leave the club on a free? Or do they want us to sell him? Because if we have to sell him, well, you've got to tell me which club in Europe can actually afford in this current climate to buy Paul Pogba, because United aren't selling Paul Pogba for anything less than 100 million at minimum.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think we should either as well. We've got quite a lot of people. Obviously, let's move on from the Pogba thing because I don't want to dwell too much on it. Just to summarize people's comments, does Pogba really love the club from Super Red Fan? Tubbs MD watching from Philippines, the homie. Pogba doing tactics for contract negotiations, in my opinion. I don't even want to comment that because I don't even know anyone.
Usmaan, yeah. Can I just say the man was living good in Turin, He was living life, and then we went to go and live life.
Man, the weather's nice there as well, man. I've been to
bro, he was living good. Scudettos every year.
Exactly, the ice cream. They got the whole thing, man. You don't need to worry about nothing, man. He had bloody pillow on that behind him. But listen, let's move on to the other midfielder in our team that's been causing a stir. Or for me personally, doing out exactly what I fucking would expect from a Manchester United player. Again, I'm trying to be as impartial as I possibly can. I feel like I've kind of been biased with the Pogba thing. I've just realised, but it is where it is now. None of us want Pogba to leave, but it is where it is. But anyways, moving on to Bruno and the Maguire situation. Obviously, the title of the video or the podcast is, has Oli lost the dressing room? The reason for the question is because there's been a lot of reports from, let's be honest, dog shit newspapers, ones that nobody actually should read because they're not credible. They're just trying to get clicks. But we'll just give it a bit of flipping light. Anyways, basically saying there's been a bust up. Bruno, doesn't respect Ollie's tactics because of obviously what happened after the Spurs game. Apparently, he had a bust up with Maguire as well at halftime. But listen, Ali, I'll pass it to you. What are your thoughts on the whole Bruno situation? You know, do you think there's any truth to that story, or do you think it's just fabricated nonsense?
You know what? The guy's captain material, full stop. You've seen his mentality at Sporting. He sort of echoed it here. You see him after games when he gives his press conferences, etc., or his interviews, how passionate he is about the team moving forward and winning with the club, etc. So they probably did have a disagreement. It's probably been blown up to a massive proportion based on the fact that what the halftime score was. But it's a toughie, man. I think he's shown that his heart's on his sleeve and he speaks the truth. So, and he's got every right. If someone's not pulling their weight as a captain at Sporting, he raised his sort of concern. I think there's an element of truth in it, but I don't think it's what was sort of blown out to be. But the guy's just showing captain material every single time. Every interview he gives is so passionate. It's like a fan speaking. God no, I won't even get into the Harry Maguire captaincy situation at all. But yeah, I reckon.
Well, that is one of the next questions, so we will have to in a second.
Do it. You know you want
you
to.
might have say it now.
Lay it out, bro. Lay it out. I want to hear it.
Anyway,
The guys
that Harry Maguire's an absolute donk of a human being. You even saw there was that clip where him and Rashford, when Rashford was talking to the referee and whatnot, and how defensive was. Oh, they've looked at it already. No, you're the captain. Fight for it. Like show some passion. He waddles around the pitch like a donkey. His head's too big for his body. He's slow. He's immobile. I can't stand the guy. He gets defended so much by the English press. They pick on Martial. They pick on Rashford. They'll pick on whoever they can and keep Harry Maguire's sort of icon model. Bullshit. Bruno has proved time and time again the guy will. He blasted Lindelof in the against Sevilla. That shows up. No one else does that. They'll sit there, they'll wave their hand and whatnot. Don't go in there and slam him in the face completely. So he did rip into Maguire. What everyone would have been done. The guy pulled back Shaw and allowed Ndombele to score. I can't stand Maguire. And everyone who defends him and says, "Oh, he's a system defender," bullshit. The guy's an absolute waste of money. Completely. He's done nothing in his year here to prove that he's actually worth his price tag. Can't stand that. I genuinely can't stand. No idea why he was giving captaincy at all.
These comments are so reckless. I'm not going to read some of them. There's one from Beats. Oh, God. Well, I'll put it on the screen.
Ali.
You guys can read it yourself.
Yeah.
Beats.
Yeah.
Beats says I smoke, but he's in the comment.
Hey, yo, Beaks. Ali, I love you, man. This is true.
Beaks is too funny. But listen, a lot of people showing love to Bruno in the chat. Practically everybody. There's not one person that's not put Bruno for captain. Super Red fan has put Bruno as Ollie, hashtag Ollie out. Harry Maguire's the twat. Okay. Right, okay, so obviously these are the types of comments we get on a regular basis. This is that conversation. But listen, obviously regarding the Bruno situation, I personally think it's fabricated. I don't think it's true at all, this notion about Ollie tactics. At the end of the day, you know, I personally don't agree with Ollie continuing after that performance. I don't see him coming back from that. But I think the players are probably more to blame for that loss against Spurs than Ollie, because it was an absolute fucking shambles. You know, you can be a coach, you can set them up however you want, but the manner in which we defended, that was worse than Sunday League. It was embarrassing. So blame Ollie all you want for that performance, but that players are, for me, culpable. They need to be hung out to dry first and foremost, and then obviously you can say what you want about Ollie by all means. But yeah, coming back to Bruno, Coach, obviously you can talk about the captaincy as well if you wish to do so. What are your thoughts regarding the Bruno's comments? Do you think that's kind of what's been missing from the team, in the sense that if this is all factual information that we're receiving regarding the bus stop and obviously his comments about Ali, do you think that's what's been missing? It's almost like a lot of people have been too nice at the club, hence why we're in the situation that we are.
Yeah, I mean, if we are going to take it for truth, you know, we, as you said before, the people that reported it are, you know, the worst of the worst. But if he did go in there and have a go, I'm happy, because you need the player to call another player out on their bullshit. That's what it is. We're human beings at the end of the day. If you've got people that have in my opinion, the respect to come to you and tell you, listen, you're not doing well, And he's not saying I'm doing well either. He knows he was just as bad, but you have to be called out on it because the mistakes you made literally led to goals being conceded. So what are you going to do as a captain, as a leader, to stand up and lead us forward? What is the next step? So if he did call him out, I'm happy for that. And if he doesn't disagree with Ole's tactics, there's nothing wrong with a player going to the manager saying, "Boss, I'm not happy with how we're playing." There's nothing wrong with that. But this is the culture of football now. It's very, very soft. You're the head coach, and it's easy for the players to do what they want and get away with bad performances because they cost a lot or they have a big reputation. Listen, if you're not playing well, let people call you out on your bullshit and let you know who you are and what you're about. Fans love Roy Keane. Roy Keane didn't let any superstar come and bullshit in the club, did he? So, if you've got a player that's coming in and your captain's not doing this job, if he's calling him out on his bullshit, let him continue to do so. I can only respect that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think you can't be nice, man. At the end of the day, this is football. Obviously, whatever happens on the pitch, within the dressing room, stays there after the game. All those things. You just get over it. And obviously, again, this is such a minor thing, but Bruno was liking Maguire's pictures, etc. So clearly, there's not any animosity there whatsoever. I don't know, that's not really a show of love or anything, but if there is an issue, you're not going to be you're not going to be social or whatever with the person. But what are your thoughts, G, in terms of the notion that some people are suggesting that Oli may or may not have lost the dressing room? Where do you think you stand on that after such a heavy defeat? Do you think Oli can turn that around? Do you think he's lost the dressing room? Or do you still feel that the boys are still behind him?
First of all, this might be coming from the Mirror, and so I literally do not trust the Daily Mirror.
Yeah. I personally don't think it's true. I'm just going to put out there.
No. It's specifically the Daily, because especially during this transfer window, even before, they put out so much BS. I think they actually put out. Do you remember when someone said that Bruno and Pogba were out for a certain game or something, and it actually came from a troll Twitter account? It was actually Daily Mirror. You remember that?
So embarrassing as well, man.
You're a credible paper and you're quoting a troll Twitter account as legit. That's how. So this is the credibility we're talking about here. You know what I mean? But just if we're talking just in general,
I was about to say in general, regardless of that report in general, where do you think the dressing room is at the moment? Because it's quite evident that we've got a young squad and a lot of them are relying on confidence in terms of in the manner in which they play. What do you think they're going to be like coming into this game?
It's really difficult because, I think this international break as well, I had time to think about it. And I think we do have to realize that this is a strange season, so under normal circumstances, these players would have had a break. We had a pre-season. We would have had all the players to sort of gel with and work with, sort of positioning, etc. What's happened, because I was speaking to a City fan about this, and we're because City and United have both kind of started not particularly great,
Yeah, they've started terribly as well, to be honest.
United and City, they went the furthest in Europe in terms of time, in terms of where they were playing to quarter semi-finals. So they had less rest. Barely a pre-season, and obviously getting their signings quite late and assembling them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to make excuses for Oli, but what I am trying to say is that we haven't started with ideal circumstances, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So I feel now with the international break, with hopefully a lot of the players now should be in their groove, have played 2 weeks for their national team, etc.
Yeah.
I'd expect that everyone should be at least back to at least match fitness.
Absolutely.
So that's why I think from now, I feel like I can judge Oli from now. I'm not saying that the Spurs, as though all the results was legit. I think it was a poor performance, but you could still point to a few things though, like, maybe if this had happened or this had happened, something might have been different. Who knows? I still think the players are playing for him, because I think you'd probably, especially when you probably see a lot more coming from the press. I think you'd see a lot more players obviously downing tools, obviously saying things. I don't think you really see that. Yes, people are annoyed, people are pissed, but I think that's usually if you're not having good form, but I think they're still playing for him. What I think is happening is that Ed Woodward is trying to deflect. I think after transfer window, all the fans were like, screw the Glazers, screw the board. Yeah. And I feel like he's trying to deflect from what he was supposed to do and put it on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and bring in the Poch talk and all the rest of it. And so, in summary, I don't think he's lost the dressing room. I think the players do still want to play for him. And I think a lot of this news that's coming out is the Edward Wood Glazer spin to distract United fans and say, well, it's Ollie's fault. It's all Ollie's fault. He's the reason why we're in this, and not to focus on the real issue, in my opinion, which is Edward Wood and the Glazers.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fantastic point. Actually, I was going to mention that later on. I've noticed this as well. You know, obviously Neil Ashton's been hired. We all know about Neil Ashton now. I personally think they've done a fantastic job. I'm going to be honest. Like, not for me personally, because I hate the board regardless, but, you know, and I do think Ollie has had, Ollie does deserve a lot of criticism. However, people have completely forgotten about the shit show that has been the window. You know, Cavani's not even available for selection. It's highly unlikely Tellez is going to start as well. That's because they were signed so bloody late. So
you can't tell me that your manager, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was like, I want you to sign Cavani near deadline day, so you can't be available for me for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's not the manager that's going to think like that. That's the board. That's the Glazers that don't. You know, it's no manager would think like that at all. You know, so it's just nonsense. But sorry, go on.
I do agree with that point as well. No, at the end of the day, look, we've done a full video, myself, Kojo, and I think it was Joe. We did a full video on the Glazers, etc. Balbies. Feel free to check that one out. Yeah. But just coming back to Ali before we come back to that point, we have got a comment here, Ali, and I'll pass it to you because I know what you're going to say anyways, but I'll ask you anyways. If Ali loses against Newcastle, which is the next fixture, do you think he should resign or walk away, or do you think he'll get sacked, or do you think they'll keep him for longer? What do you think?
Oh, so is that to me?
No, Ali.
Ali, go on.
It's his dream job. He's not going to walk away from the job, but he's got a tough 4 games coming up. I think the next 4 or 5 games are extremely difficult, and
next 7 games.
Will the board push him? Okay. Next, every game will just get harder and harder, and the more pressure will build, etc. I can't see him walking. I generally can't.
Do you think they'll pull the trigger that early?
The guy loves the club.
What do you reckon? Do you think they'll pull the trigger that
early? They probably would. After the debacle of the transfer window, which we're not going to go into. But they'll just see a string of results. They'll see the gap forming. They'll see other clubs that are sort of pressing ahead from the top 4, and just pull the trigger before Christmas. Like, if they pull it in the next couple of games, it's so unfair.
Really,
it's totally unfair on the guy. Obviously, I don't. Yeah, it's not fair on the guy. The guy gave a list of players that he wanted.
Exactly.
He hasn't got them. He's now struggling.
I think they've signed
a group of players.
I think they've signed 0 players from that list, by the way. They didn't sign any.
That's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
They didn't sign a single player from that. You wanted Grealish. Obviously, not going to get Grealish and Sancho, but you know that. And to be fair, his list wasn't realistic. I'm not going to lie, but you know it is where it is, isn't it? He didn't sign 1 player off that list.
No.
It's tough. It's tough, like I said, and they'll. It can't. It's tough. There's a lot of hard games coming up. He won't go. Will they pull the trigger and say after what? Imagine sacking a Man United sacking a manager after 5 to 7 games of a season. That is shocking. But it won't happen. I thought at Christmas.
Do Manchester United think? If you look at how all the other teams around us have strength in the way they have, like, because we're talking about Arthur and Wilson, but the round is like Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Everton even have strengthened. I would even argue Newcastle has strengthened more.
Newcastle doing good business, to be fair.
Very good business. Very good business.
Why are we so okay? Yeah, if he loses, but are we actually really expecting 4th? Are we really expecting 4th?
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, we should still get 4th with this team. I'm not going to lie to you. I know a lot of other teams have strength around us. Yeah, no, I still believe in this team. I think a lot of people are kind of. If you actually look at our team, we've got very good players. At the moment, they're not playing to the.
If they click,
if they're not playing, look, we've got Pogba and Bruno in midfield.
I think it's the depth, Usmaan. Though it's the depth.
No. I don't. Yeah, but what depth of Arsenal got? Arsenal lose Aubameyang, they're fucked. Who have they got?
They've got Lacazette and they've got
we've got Martial, Rashford, Cavani, and
if they click
now. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. That's 4 top players who can get you 20 goals a season, right? Potentially. They've got one, Aubameyang, potentially, like I said. I know I'm going to pass it to you, Kojo. But for me personally, right, I'm not saying he should get sacked after his Newcastle game. However, this notion that the squad's not good enough to get top 4, I personally, who's got better squad? The only team is Spurs. Like,
the defense,
really? Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Spurs defense is shit as well. They've got Eric Dyer playing there as their first centre back. He's dog shit. Arsenal defense isn't anything special. Like, Chelsea's defense isn't even anything special. They've got 36-year-old in their defense. So I don't know. I personally think, you know, I don't agree with that. We shouldn't get top 4. I think if he doesn't get top 4, he has to 100% get sacked. Coach, I'm going to pass it to you. Obviously, after the Newcastle game, and obviously whatever you want to add, putting your hand up, bare cute and that. What are your thoughts, bro? What we've got to say.
You know, guys, we're going to respect it like I'm in class, you know.
Yeah, I know exactly.
But no, the thing is, I agree. I think the squad is good enough to get top 4. What I worry about is the management of the squad in game most of the time is you know, how we started thriving when Pogba and Bruno were allowed to link up because they're allowed to play closer, and suddenly we see Pogba so far back and we see Bruno so far forward, and there's no one in between to always plug the gap, which I think I've said on like 15 of your shows by now at this point.
Yeah, you've said this. Yeah, you have.
Yeah, and then you sign Van der Beek and leave him on the bench. You see, it's decisions like that. That make me say it's time to go.
I didn't even mention Van der Beek as well, man. We've got a good team.
Exactly. So we got a team, and what you said about defenders is right, because a lot of teams' defenses are completely
no one can
awful
defend in this league at the moment. There's not one team you can tell me that's got a good defense at the moment.
Exactly. However, it's what we do to maximize what we got going forward, and I feel like he's not utilizing that. And that 6-1 for me was just the final straw. I get it. The players were crap. And we sat here and we ridiculed all the players one by one. But some of his decisions, not only in this game, but in the past as well, it's baffling. And I'm genuinely scared of what team he's going to put up against PSG. Forget Newcastle. That PSG game scares the living daylights out of me, because I don't know what he's going to put out. And if he puts out an awful team...
It's a McTominay Fred 2.0 masterclass again, brother.
If he puts them to win there, and for some reason I have this scary feeling in my heart that I'm going to see Luke Shaw on the pitch instead of Tellez, I'm telling you right now.
Luke Shaw is definitely playing against Newcastle and PSG. I can tell you that now, brother.
Well, then in that case, if
I don't think he's going to put Tellez in.
We might not get whipped 6-1 again, but the performances is going to give you one hell of a migraine.
Can you imagine Neymar and Mbappe against our defense, bro?
This is what I'm scared of.
We just got violent against Spurs, by the way.
Even Icardi, his movement alone against Lindelof,
Di Maria creates us as well.
And there you go. This is the point. So, like, bruv, this is why I'm saying Ole has to go, because the players are good enough, but what are you going to do to maximize what we can get out of them? And I'm not convinced he can do it.
But he got his third last season with those players.
He did.
That's why I'm saying they should be good.
And that's good. That's very good. He did.
Since then, all those teams around us, that's what always seems to have improved the squad they have.
But bro, see, the thing is, right? I agree. He hasn't had that luck in the transfer window that he should have. They didn't back him properly, and 4 of the signings out of the 5 came on the last day of the window, and one of them's coming in January. That's even a shambles in itself. But he's not to blame for that. I agree with that, but the in-game management just keeps giving me nightmares, man. I can't get past it.
You can't defend him on that. I've been going on for ages.
Bro,
we've always questioned him. Tactically, we've always questioned him. We've always said the guy's in it.
We were down to 10 men, and your decision was to bring on 2 defensive players and put your most creative player on the left wing. You can't make this shit up, man. You really can't make this shit up.
Let's pass it back to you. Look, obviously, it's quite. Look, for me personally, I haven't even said what I think. For me personally, I just think if he loses against Newcastle, the reason I agree with the point that it's so early in the season and he does deserve more time in this season to rectify it. However, having looked at the fixtures, if you can't beat Newcastle, you might as well forget about it. Because those fixtures after Newcastle, he's got PSG, I think he's got Arsenal, he's got RB Leipzig, Chelsea. Then he's got Istanbul, he's got Everton. Then he's got Man City. So if you can't beat Newcastle,
but we're saying these things like we're saying these things, and this is my thing. It's like it's very easy to say a manager should go. We need to think about getting a manager in and how they implement what they want to do and how they go about things as well. And to be honest, we've been here before, and
absolutely.
What I want, and maybe this what I see is, for me, the best thing for me is he sees out the season. If he's going to go, for me, he should go at the end of the season. United should spend, if they want him gone, they should spend the time.
I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he can last to end the season.
You know,
I'm gonna be honest.
Because
I hear what you're saying.
He'll be dead by then.
No, I actually hear what he's saying, because the issue is,
so I don't want another panic manager that we've had so many times.
Pochettino's not a panic manager.
Bro. I don't even think they'll panic to pick a manager. My issue is always going to be, what are they going to do to back their manager?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. But that's a situation they put themselves in, because this guy, I don't think is going to be good enough to get them to the high levels they want to get to. So if you bring in a manager they think you can, like Pochettino, for example, are you going to back him? It's the same result. But this is football heritage. This is what I was trying to say. It's going to keep going and going and going.
We had two experienced managers, because a lot of people have been cussing Ollie and saying, "Oh, he's lacking experience." We had two experienced managers in Mourinho and Van Gaal, and they were deemed not to be good enough. And we know that from what they've said before, that they didn't get on the board and they weren't backed.
Yeah.
For me, with Pochettino, I have no issue with Pochettino. Pochettino's fine, but you saw what happened at Spurs. I think people lost sight of what happened the last two seasons because they had a good CL run. Their league form was atrocious. They were playing terrible football. So what I'm saying with Poch is that all I see is that 2 years from now, we might get a bounce. The same thing will happen when he won't get back.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. But G, you've got to remember, right? This is coming from someone that's been Ali, and Ali will tell you here, right? And Kojo will tell you. Anyone who watches that content, there's quite a few of you tuning in live. I've argued with Benji to the fucking hills for Ali. Argued with every single podcast, right? The Spurs game for me was the final straw, because the fact that he wouldn't get off his fucking arse. When we're 3-1 down, right? I show more fight in five-a-side. A five-a-side, that means absolutely fuck all. I show more passion. If you're losing 2-1, right? Your man's got sent off. Martial's got sent off, right? Okay, first and foremost, I think Maguire's at fault also as well. Didn't show any leadership. But as soon as Martial's got sent off, he needs to be on the fucking touchline giving them instructions. Okay, Martial's got sent off. You need to do this, and this.
But to be fair...
One second. Let me
go on.
You need to be on the touchline and giving instructions on how we're going to change the shape. He didn't do fuck all. He sat there and watched the replay of Martial. Did fuck all. Didn't get in the referee's ear.
To be fair,
but it's not the point though.
What did Klopp or I know they've got more backing behind them, but what did Klopp or even Pep do when they were in a situation?
Spin.
They didn't. I know the spin, but they didn't. And
but Klopp doesn't sit on his ass every game. Neither does Pep.
7-2, mate. They didn't. They've just won the Super Cup, the league, and the Champions League in 2 seasons. The lads have 1 day off. Okay, granted, it's an absolute shambles, but don't against Villa.
It doesn't matter. Don't compare what happened to Klopp against
7-2,
because it's not even the fucking same story. They've lost 1 game.
One is against Villa.
That's the second loss in 2 years.
You can trust
Villa. The other is against Spurs and was with 10 men as well.
Yeah, but you're just using one fixture to defend.
You can trust Liverpool. You can trust Liverpool to bounce back. Can you trust this United with this manager to bounce back?
But this is the thing. We were here last. This will people forget. We were here last season. Last season, this happened. The start of the season, the first half, we had poor, terrible results or whatever. This happened. Yeah. Come January, Bruno came and we went on a ridiculous run. You're talking about trust or something. How many games have we lost? How many games have we lost since January?
Do we want to repeat of that?
No.
2.
Do
we want to repeat of that? That's the problem. Do we want to repeat?
No, Bruno went on the run.
Sorry? Bruno was a run or whatever, or Van der Beek was. I don't. So we've only lost, because the same world games, we've only lost in the league. Was it? I think it must be 2, maybe maximum 3 games since January.
Well, 2 of them are this season.
I know they've been this season. If we're talking about what, go on, go on.
Sorry, it's not. I think so. Bruno's incoming covered up Ollie's mistakes. Bruno carried us through those last 10, 15 games of the season. And we saw the last 4 or 5 games building up to the last game against Leicester, how desperate we were, how reliant we were. And it was the same philosophy every single time. So I don't care about what in January, because Bruno carried us over that line in general. The issue is now we're seeing the same mistakes that were clouded in January, tactically. And again, if we're going to mention Klopp and Pep and whatnot, yes, they'll get off the arse and they'll
mention they've won the league 2 times, and he's won the league.
I know, but I'm talking about but Uzi, I'm talking about Silent Matic. If you're saying he's sitting down on his arse, I'm saying yes, they were losing 7-2 or whatever, but you'll see them up, you'll see them managing, saying, guys, formation, blah blah blah. Ollie will sit on his arse. I think that is Uzi's point. During the game, when you're down 3-1, we want to see something.
Take some ownership.
Exactly.
Do something. He just
get off your seat. Dictate.
Your players just got sent off.
I know, but like what I'm trying to say is not every manager does that. Like Bielsa, for example, is good.
Listen. I've coached for 5 years, right? Not a high level. But I can assure you, I don't know a single fucking manager on the planet. If your players just got sent off, that's not on the touchline trying to give instructions to rejig this formation. Coach is a coach as well. Coach, have you ever seen someone do that? When your players got sent off, they're sat over there. They're not even... Imagine your players got sent off. If the players are like, wait, what formation are we playing now? That's why we conceded the other 2 goals, because no one knew what the fuck the roles were. Because Martial was the lone striker.
No one's leaving.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I don't give the players. It's like, but no one knows. How can you not know what your roles are? That's my point. It's like I'm not
just got sent off. It's changed. The system's gonna change, isn't it?
The game's changed. The game's changed.
Yes, the game has changed. But what I'm saying is like, I'm not saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is some sort of tactical genius thing or whatever. I do, however, think that a lot of United problems, especially given the fact that we're now 7 years post Fergie, and we're saying a lot of the same things under 4 different managers.
Oh, no, I agree with all that.
So my point has always been, it's like, right, okay, fine. If you want to get Ole out, that's fine. I've got no issue with that. My point is that like 2 years from now, we're going to be having the same conversation.
Listen, my question to you G, is, all right, I'll ask you this question, because look, you're speaking to someone that's been Ollie in since day one. I've literally turned from the Spurs game. So you're speaking to someone that's been on your side of the fence. So it's not like everything you're hearing is what I was saying. But what I'm going to say to you, I'm going to ask you this question, and I want to hear the same answer, because obviously it's not just about me and you. I feel like it's just me and you talking.
Go on. Okay.
Yeah, so...
It's debate, isn't it? Debate.
It's calm, it's cool. That's what I love. But do you think, right, this is what the realization for me. Can Ollie take us to the next level with the current squad we've got? And then you compare that if Pochettino comes in or Nagelsmann, right? I'm not saying either of them are going to come in, but I'm asking you a genuine question, right? Knowing our board, they'll probably give it to fucking gigs to the users, but pretend that doesn't happen. Right, just say Pochettino, I hope it doesn't, but just say Pochettino comes in, hypothetically speaking, right? Do you feel Pochettino can have more success with the current squad over what Ollie is currently delivering? What are your thoughts?
Well, we need to first define what is success.
Well, just let's just say he gets top 3, for example, and let's say he wins a cup. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there as a devil's advocate. Do you think Pochettino's got an opportunity to get us higher in terms of even closing the gap because of his coaching ability, or do you think under Ollie and this regime we'll have an opportunity to close that gap?
I don't know, because to be frank, he had a very good Spurs team and won absolutely nothing. And don't give me the Leicester City sort of miracle sort of thing. They should have won that league. He didn't.
No,
he made a tactical blunder in the Champions League final, in my opinion, playing Kane when Lucas Moura, etc., was doing well. The man manager brought Kane in. That completely changed the whole thing, and he lost the Champions League final. So if he is shown in certain games, certain big games, he's been in the FA Cup, he's been in the Carabao Cup with. He had Son, he had Kane, these guys in their peak. He got Moura. He had a very good peak, Alderweireld and Vertonghen in their defense, who are much older now, and won nothing. So he might do marginally better than Ollie. I'll give you that. But do I think that he's going to make us compete trophies? Do I think he's going to make us go into the Champions League? Do I think he's going to make us get to where United should be? No, I don't think he is. If you combine that with the stupidity of our board, no.
Okay, to be fair, you make very valid points because I don't think Pochettino's going to come in and just be Jesus, so to speak. Kojo, what are your thoughts on the same question basically?
What I think he would do, number one, because I think where he failed at Tottenham or where Tottenham failed him is a bit of both. Is when they had the chance to finally push on and do something, when they finished second behind a very supreme Chelsea side under Conte, they didn't spend for 18 months. Now, at least I know for a fact that we spend. Now, we spend stupidly, but we spend. But the point is, what you said about him in the Champions League final is spot on. Kane shouldn't have started that game. And he has had some transfer duds. He's had some games where you can question him. By the end of the day, I feel like that was a thing where he told you guys, he said it loud and clear. He said it in an interview that the rebuild is going to be painful at Tottenham. Players need to be moved. They need to be changed. And it didn't happen literally until now. Literally until now. So if he saw that coming from a mile off, all these things that we're talking about were bound to happen. So if a manager can see that because his squad, what are you going to do to back him? So I'm saying if he does come in, yes, do I think he'll do better with the squad? Absolutely. Do I think he'll do better with Pogba and Bruno and Van der Beek and find a system to make them work? Absolutely. Because I think his in-game management is better than what it is of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And that's why I need improvement first before I can start talking about titles. Because really and truly, if I'm being honest, I don't think we're into any trophy anytime soon anyway. Yeah. But we need to see a genuine progression. And I'm not talking about finishing third because Chelsea and City dropped points and we won our games. Yes, we did our job, but they dropped far too many points. They were so far clear. The point I wanted to be is, all right, are you third behind City and Liverpool? All right, cool. They're the two best teams in the country. No problem. I understand that. But then are you going to be third to the point where it's like we are the third best team in the country comfortably? Or is it going to be another catch-up job? Because I can't lie to you, with Ole, I'm not sure. 11-game winning run, poor form. Winning run for about 5-6 games, poor form.
Yeah.
I don't rate that consistency. No, that's not consistent at all, actually. So I need someone that I can look at and say, at least I can know that you will be consistent. And if he comes in and does the job, fantastic. But I'll be first. If Poch comes in and he sucks, I'll be the first one to apologize on here.
Let's get some comments in because there's quite a lot of contrasting views. Obviously, some people agreeing with what you said, G. Obviously, some not agreeing. Ollie outs, etc. Joe O'Neill also very much regular, saying he's not a Glazers puppet. He's sick of that narrative. Also, he's added to the question that I presented to you boys, saying no in terms of Pochettino. I would assume that's referring to if anyone comes in now and matches what Ali did last season, they would be hailed as a savior only because he got relegated at New Cardiff. Basically, probably insinuating that he doesn't get the respect he deserves. Ali, just to finish on this matter, and then let's just have a quick chat about the Newcastle game. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to chat to all of you prior to the game. What are your thoughts, Ali? You're quite confidently said you don't think he deserves to be sacked so early in the season. Do you think Pochettino can make a difference, or do you still stand by the fact that Ali hasn't really been backed? It's a bit disrespectful from the board to even have the audacity to sack him when a lot of the issues on the pitch currently are down to their negligence and the fact that they can't actually do their flipping job. What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, I think they will hang him out to dry. They'll cover up what happened in the summer and say, look, the coaches weren't good enough. Poch will come in, give the club a little boost. I think if Poch was to come in, you'll see something building. You'll see a formation, a style, a tactic, in-game management. That's something that we haven't seen. Edward G and Jose were sort of old school managers. Poch is one of them modern managers. So I think we'll see a difference, but I think same as what G said. If he does his part and he shows progression, and he shows a team building and going somewhere, will the club back him in the summer, in January, etc.? I think that's the issue. Does Poch have the qualities? 100%. He turned into a really nice, free-flowing football team that you actually would enjoy watching. Obviously, things didn't turn out how they wanted to do, but I think if he comes in, he'll build a structure, he'll build a formation, he'll build a style that we haven't had. I think he'll get that 10-20% more out of it that probably Ollie can't do. And then it's whether he actually gets backed by the board, which is the same thing that we had a couple months ago.
Yeah, there's a few comments here. Someone put Ali in, hashtag Ali in, all the way from the Philippines, Some put Oli out, Allegri in, which is super red final, very much a regular. On the part, I personally completely disagree. I do not want Allegri even in fucking anywhere near this bloody stadium. I don't rate him at all. I'd rather take Jose back. Allegri, pragmatic as fuck. Like, I just don't. I'm not a fan. Like, I don't want to go into it. Not a fan of him at all. Yeah, and he dominated Italian league with Juventus as well. To be fair, I could do that as well. It's like, do you know what I mean? Water is wet. Do you know what I mean? Like, who's gonna beat Juventus? What, 9 years on the bounce? Like, come on. But anyways, couple of comments here saying backing again what you said, G. It's bigger than Oli. Basically, I personally do agree with this statement. But it's the board. At the end of the day, you know, this whole cycle with the board, this whole Neil Ashton thing with the board at the moment is an absolute disgrace. The fact that they've, you know, feeded this or Oli Pochettino has talked to Man United, that is mainly to get the fans happy. Well, the Oli out fans happy anyways, and just completely disregard the fact that they've had an absolute shit show in the window. At the end of the day, if they did their job as Sancho and, you know, other players that he wanted,
I know people say there's no difference, but come on, let's look at what Chelsea did. You can't tell me United, we're the biggest club in the world. Chelsea signed 7 players. Yes, some got on a free, but they were able to do it with a director of football, by the way. They were able to. Now, if the manager screws them up, fair enough. But at least they got 7 players in key position they need, and in 2 transfer windows, they've effectively signed a new squad. You mean to tell me that Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, can't sign even 3 or 4 in one window on time? Like, come on!
It's a disgrace, man. It's a disgrace. There's no excuse for it. As the United fan, United Way said, like and subscribe to the channel. If you are new, please drop a like on the video. We're trying to get to 1K. And obviously, we really do appreciate the support. Just get another comment up here. I think this is a very good point, actually. I've read it, but skim read it. So you might have slagged me off at the bottom and not read the last line. If I'm being honest, there isn't really a top manager out there that isn't in a job which can come in and take United to the level of Liverpool. And I think that's a very valid point. Regardless of who comes in to manage Manchester United in this current situation or current climate, so to speak, we're not close to Liverpool, sadly, because it's just an absolute shambles in terms of structure. However, and it's kind of a bit of a contradictory comment, I don't actually think Liverpool and Man City are that good. Like, don't get me wrong, Liverpool are a lot better than Man City in terms of they're a well-oiled machine, and this isn't coming off the back of their loss, but they're nothing special. Like, they're good teams, don't get me wrong. The Man City, obviously, they play fantastic football, but the defense was shit last season. You know, it's carried on this season. I don't think that Man City team is anything special, like the likes of David Silva. Obviously, Company's gone. Aguero's injured.
Big thing.
Aguero's injured for a lot of it. Obviously, it's a completely different team with Company, David Silva, and Aguero fully fit. It's a completely different beast. And they're kind of going through a transition period themselves. You know, it's going to be difficult for them to replace Aguero. They haven't replaced David Silva. I'm assuming Foden's going to do that. So I don't think the Man City team is that good either. Like, Liverpool team obviously is still the same team, but look, they're missing Mane, they're missing Alisson, and they've just capitulated in one game. They look terrible against Leeds defensively as well. You know, I just think the league is so open. If we had proper management and structure behind it, we could potentially close the gap. But listen, let's talk about the Newcastle game. Everyone that is currently watching us live, there's quite a few of you commenting as well, so we appreciate it. We're going to move on to the Newcastle game, so I'm not going to touch on Oli whatsoever now in terms of Oli and Oli out. Obviously, you can talk about tactics, etc. But let's talk about how we're feeling going to the game, you know, how we'd approach the game. Not so much a preview, but just a general chat regarding it. Kojo, we start with you, obviously, because you took your team from 6th to 2nd, so you know your shit. Listen, how would you approach this game? First and foremost, right, I'm just going to throw this out. We're going to do a preview on Friday, but I personally think we're going to win this game 2-1. I know I think we're going to play absolutely terrible, but we're going to win the game. It's going to be one of them ones. But Kojo, what do you want to see different? Because I think, of course, he's got no Martial, he's got no Cavani. We know that now. You know, he has got the option of Lingard, Mata, etc. on the right wing. But what do you want to see different? What's the most important thing for you? Oli surely has to have looked in the mirror and thought, no, what, I'm going to have to do something different. What do you reckon?
we need a convincing performance to really boost the spirits of the club and the team and the players. I understand that some fans will take any sort of win right now, but I feel like as difficult as it will be to go there and do this, I feel like we need to go to Newcastle and really assert authority. It's not going to be easy. They've made a lot of good signings this window. They've bolstered their team. They haven't started badly this year, but if you really want to show levels and apparently having this improvement, you need to be braver with your tactics. You need to start Tellers. You must start Van der Beek. That is a necessity. And if you want more reliable goals, I think this is the time to put Greenwood up front. I think this should be the opportunity to start as a striker. Um, Newcastle's left backs do tend to like to move forward. This might be a perfect thing to put Daniel James in. But personally, I think.
Have you got the video on in the background? Someone's got it on. I can't tell.
Oh no, sorry, it's my phone being stupid.
I'll mute the other two guys thinking this might be one of them.
No,
guys,
me.
I do apologize.
It's
Sorry,
me.
Roger, carry on.
You need to be braver with your tactics. So I think he's gonna start Daniel James on the right, even though I would personally start Mata. I think the IQ is more important in this kind of game, especially if you want to do a little link up with Bruno Fernandes. But more importantly, Van der Beek must start this game. I can't stress that enough. And you need to find the right balance for who. For who? Me personally, I'm talking about being brave. I'm getting Matic off the pitch. I know it's reckless. I know you might sound reckless, people, free creative players, but me personally, you got someone that knows how to link up, play and play box to box. You got someone that you want to play deeper, give him the responsibility of playing deeper and whipping balls from deep, and give Bruno someone that can link up with him from the right hand side because we're still too left sided on the pitch. It's too far because bless his heart, Mason Greenwood's done so good on the right wing, but he's not a right winger. He's always been a number 9. That's what he came up as. He's a killer. He's a pure finisher. He's a number 9. Even though he has the ability to play as a right winger, but he doesn't give the variety because you know what he's going to try and do. So I would prefer Mata in there. I think he was to do better in that position and just try and get the win in a convincing way. It might be difficult, but if we see there's application to the tactics, at least I can forgive that. That's what I can say.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Obviously, regarding the Mata and James thing, first and foremost, I don't want to see Dan James starting this game. I just think he's going to get absolutely scapegoated if he comes in and drops a disaster class. I just don't think he needs to be the person to come in. For me personally, obviously, you guys know my thoughts if you watched my video, the formation change. I just want to put this comment on before I pass it to you, Ali, and then obviously get your thoughts, G. Because good old Brucey is gonna play Gucci Man on our weakest link to defense. Saint Maximin's gonna be a problem this game, bro. Ali, what do you want to see change the most? Obviously, Kojo's kind of kept a similar system. Obviously, put Van der Beek in, which for me personally is a risk, as we know, and also Mata. A lot of creativity, though, must add. A lot of creativity there. But Ali, what do you reckon? What do you want to see Ollie do in this game? What will make you say, you know what? At least he's tried to change something.
Yeah, I think Kojo's spot on. He's got to show a little bit more balls towards his go-to team. He'll always have Matic in there. I think he's got to say, you know what, it hasn't worked for the first 4 or 5 games, etc. Let's change it up. Let's chuck Van der Beek in. Let's chuck in Tellez. Let's go for a more attacking approach. Newcastle, away generally with the fans, is quite a tough game. Obviously, there's no fans there, so like I said, there's no one against it. Maxim would obviously have a free role, etc. But he's got to show a little bit more balls. Drop Matic, a bit more offensive. As Coach just said, put Greenwood up front because Matic isn't working. Well, the way we played, and I think the key thing is there any mental? Go on.
Yeah, sorry, Ali, you're lagging loads, hence why I keep interrupting you. I do apologize. I felt like you're not gonna. You stopped. Yeah, so I've just got a comment here from Joe. I've got a put on screen because it's just cracking me up. I know Coach is talking his head because Ali is shaking his head. And also Joe's part. And I want to know what your guys' thoughts on this is. Apparently, Bruno's not going to be allowed to play. Because Ronaldo's got COVID, and obviously they were all together. So, does that mean Bruno's not eligible as well? Surely.
Wait. Does that mean the entire Portuguese squad then?
That means all Wolves can't play this week.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can Wolves form a team in the Premier League?
Wolves have got Connor Cody. That's it for this weekend.
I mean, he's
it's
Yeah, I saw
definitely
that link.
factual. Yeah, no, it's definitely factual. Obviously, everyone's reporting. I know he's got it. And obviously, he posted that picture on his Instagram literally yesterday with all the players having a meal after the game. Literally, him taking the photo, and Bruno was right on the other side. I think it's 2 meters apart, so it might get away with it. No, but surely it must mean Bruno's not playing in it. Listen, I'll pass this one to you, G. I did a full video on this, but I feel like Ollie has to change. I said he had to go to a diamond / 3-5-2 hybrid. So basically changing the formation completely. I kind of think that is kind of chalked off because if Bruno's not playing. But for me personally, I would still play and I'll put Mata in number 10. I think Mata definitely deserves a game. He's been fantastic in the 2 games. So for me personally, I'll change the formation. Joe's put 3 at the back. A good question here by Tubbs, MD. Does that mean Pogba also has to isolate as well? Because obviously they were playing each other. So I don't even know what's going on. We might not have Pogba, Bruno, Martial, Cavani.
I would expect him to beat Newcastle, just like all these players are just.
Oh my God! Lingard best be practicing his dance move because he might be having to get on the pitch. G, what do you reckon? What do you want to see change the most? We'll wrap it up there, obviously, but coming back to this game, obviously we've just been slapped 6-1 from Jose Mourinho as well as mugged us off completely in our own backyard. What do you want to see from Ollie in this game? The most important thing for you, what do you want to see?
So obviously, we need to build momentum here. Like now, I actually think the Newcastle away is always actually a hard game. Like for some reason, I think fans always of all clubs are always kind of like, oh yeah, Newcastle will be fine. But actually, like if you look at it, they've beaten Chelsea's, the Cities, held to Liverpool's, etc. At home. So St. James is not like a win at St. James like is a good result. Is my point. So like it's not a like we're playing Norwich or something like that. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So personally, for me, I think he should stay with the 4-3-3. I'm in 2 minds as to whether we should play Tellers or not. Not because I don't think Tellers is a good player, but there's always that thing with a player that you've just sort of signed, wants to integrate, etc. Is it the right idea to just throw them in? And maybe that's the reason with Van der Beek, where like maybe Ollie feels like he doesn't want to throw him from the start. I know we shouldn't compare managers, but Klopp did the same thing with like the likes of Fabinho and various other signings, just easing them into the team rather than just throwing them in. So,
Does Ollie have the luxury of doing that though?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is, it's almost like a damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because if, for example, he plays Tellez and Tellez has absolute mare, people will criticize him and say, well, why don't you play Luke Shaw? Tellez had just come. Why don't you use him? And if he plays Luke Shaw, people go, well, why don't you play Alexi Tellez? He's probably the better, blah, 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 blah. So I feel like he's damned if he doesn't, damned if he, damned either way if we end up in the game, So, but the only thing I said with Kojo and Matic is that I still think that I know that the guys saying that Matic isn't good, but I still think that when Matic hasn't played, we look worse.
Yeah, I agree.
Play a lot worse.
It says a lot about our team as well.
I would have loved for us to get some like Partey or or even a Cavalli or someone in that position that's more athletic who can distribute the ball better, faster, and can help the back too. But we decided to give Matic a 3-year extension. That's on the Glazers. But anyway, but I still think that because one of the things I look at when Matic at least passes the ball forward. He can actually pass. He tries to create things. Yes, he's slow. Yes, he's sluggish. But that's what he can do. When you put Freddie McTominay in there, yes, they're great tacklers, but really their defensive awareness and their ball distribution is crap. It's not great. They cannot. It's just sideways passing. It's nothing. Yeah. And they played against Newcastle away last season, and that's when we lost.
Oh my God.
And they were there. The other thing is, I really, 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 really hope that Matty Longstaff isn't playing. Please tell me that Matty Longstaff isn't playing for Newcastle, because Matty Longstaff.
The fact that you're saying that with Manchester United is just making me more depressed.
I know, but he scored against us in both games, didn't he? He scored against us today.
Who the fuck is he, man? I don't even know who he is.
Some ginger guy, but he scored like score against us. So if he's not playing, we're good. I would front 3 wise though. I mean, you said that if Bruno is out on Pogba, like, I don't know what I'm
here, man.
I mean, if Bruno's out, then it's easy. Just Matic, Pogba, and Van der Beek would be my midfield. If Pogba's out, then
It's gonna be Fred in it. It's gonna have to be.
Fred and Van der Beek would probably be what I would play. I think
it should still do the job in it, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Okay. 1-3 wise though, I would probably start Lingard. I would actually have Greenwood in the middle, Rashford on the left, and Lingard on the right. And I know that people.
And his face. And his face. I love Lingard, man. He's competitive.
What I
can't stand it. I can't stand it.
In Lingard's defense, when he has come and when he has played, he has done a job, you know, and he is better defensively, in my opinion, than Daniel James and Greenwood. Yeah. Like when Lingard has played, Wan-Bissaka doesn't tend to struggle as much. I know Wan-Bissaka has been having good performances recently, but part of the reason I think Part of the reason why
Ali, your eyes.
Part of the reason why I think Wan-Bissaka struggled is because he hasn't had. He's been double.
Yeah, he's not got any cover. He's not got any cover.
No, he's not getting enough cover, you know. And I think that's changed when the likes of Lingard, etc., has been playing this. So I play Lingard there, and that'd be that.
All right. There's literally no love for Lingard in this chat. Everyone says Lingard is crap, don't want him playing. Someone else says, ha ha ha, Ali. Obviously, based on your reaction. Listen, lads, everyone's entitled to their opinions, obviously. For me, personally, Jay Ling's within a bag of trick, but it's what it is.
You always say this. You always say this.
Listen, I personally think we got to play a diamond. If Bruno and bloody Pogba are allowed to play for whatever reason, just put Mata and bloody Van der Beek in there, man. He'll be alright, man. They'll do a job. Mata's number 10. He's a baller, man. He'll
yeah, I agree with that.
He'll flip and sort it out. But anyways, listen, we're gonna wrap it up there. As always, just want to say a massive thank you to our guests. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. As always, we appreciate all the support. But before we go, just want to allow the people to give a shout out for the socials, because I'm not actually putting the comment. I'm not putting the description at the moment, but we'll do after this is up. Ali, start with yourself, brother. Where can people find you?
Twitter and Instagram, Ali_B86.
Happy days. And in case you don't know, Ali is the plug for the kids. Make sure you go and check out his social media. He's got fantastic sort of offers ready. The kit that I got and the kit that Joe has got as well is from Ali, completely genuine kit. It's not fake. Obviously, if you think it's fake, then don't buy it. Go pay fucking 80 quid. But if you want a good price kit, then hit him up. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Kojo, where can they find you at the moment, bro?
Damn it. There we go. You can find me on obviously right here on Usmaan Talks United, and you can find me on my podcast, Free Midfield, and the other one, Footy Says, all on the socials and all on YouTube.
And last but not least, special guest. Thank you for coming on, bro. Where can they find you?
Well, thanks again for having me on, guys. Hope everyone enjoyed it. It's been a brilliant show. So I'm on Twitter. I'm on We Are United X. That's at We Are United X. And I'm on Red Devil Studio on YouTube. So by all means, come on, have a look, and check me out.
Make sure you go and subscribe to all of the guys. Make sure you show them bloody love. It's completely free, mate. It's not going to cost you a penny. Go and show them love. Obviously, our Goodman Kojo is doing the celebration. Listen, as always, stay positive, lads. It can't get any worse. That's the motto. It can't get any worse. We'll catch you on the next show, which I don't even know when it is. I think it's Thursday. But anyways, it's been your host, Usmaan. Peace.
Peace.
Happy